I'm Naïma, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, I got COVID in March 2020 and I seemed to recover until October 2020 when I became completely incapacitated by my symptoms. Long COVID had not yet entered the conversation, and even now it's still something that is under discussed. So for 3 months I was searching for a diagnosis. I then spent 6 months in bed almost 80% of the time. And then I started seeing some real improvements from June 2021. So it has been a really long road to recovery. In the UK alone, a study recently revealed that there could be up to 2 million people suffering with long COVID. Long COVID is defined as people who do not recover for several weeks or months following the start of COVID symptoms. And this is whether you were tested or not. So many people are really struggling to get by with a wide variety of symptoms, everything ranging from profound fatigue, cough, breathlessness, muscle and body aches, chest heaviness or pain, skin rashes, palpitations, fever, headache, diarrhea, pins and needles, and a myriad of other symptoms. But this video is about something that I feel really needs to be addressed, as it's one of the biggest misunderstandings about the condition. As I always say in these videos, I'm not a doctor and I can only speak from my own personal experience, but I am someone who is a long hauler from the first batch of people that ever got COVID in March 2020 in Europe. This, I feel, is one of the biggest misunderstandings that we have about this condition. Long COVID is a condition with many ups and downs. For many, it is cyclical, with a period of intense symptoms where many are bedbound, many are unable to look after themselves. And these more intense symptoms are then followed by a period of relief from symptoms, where some can resume almost all activities that they did pre the infection. And this condition is not the same every day, and I cannot stress that enough. There's a lot of confusion that arises with the fact that the condition varies in intensity all the time, and it means that many are not listened to by friends, by family, even by doctors or employees, because they seem fine. And again, this is an invisible condition, so many seem fine on the days when people are seeing them, on the days where they're having a respite from the more severe symptoms. But a very big picture of this illness is the relapsing, remitting nature of this illness, where you feel as though you've recovered and then it hits you back. And this is similar to a lot of chronic conditions. In the most intense periods of my illness, in those very intense 6 months between October and this summer, I would spend between 3 to 7 days where my chest pains were so severe that the only time I could move would be going to the toilet and eating meals. Then I would have a couple of weeks where it was less intense. So I slowly learned that my overactivity on the good days was contributing to the intensity of the bad days. For me, over time, the cycles have got further and further apart and also less pronounced. So my good days are now much better and my bad days are also much better. So there's a bit less of a crazy up and down, and that has helped enormously. But even though I'm seeing massive improvements, there have still been some days this month where I've been bedbound. This constant cycle of recovery followed by disappointment makes it very difficult to plan, prepare and organize yourself for the future, because you literally do not know what body you are going to wake up with that day. It is really upsetting when you had a few weeks or months where you felt incredible, you can enjoy life again, you're able to see friends, you're not constantly thinking about, am I using too much energy? And then suddenly, weeks or months later, you have a day where it is really difficult to just get by and function. And so it can be really difficult when the hope is shattered And it can be also difficult for the people around you, for friends and family who, like you, really want you to get better. And sometimes I even feel a bit of pressure when people are asking me, oh, how's it going? And the answer is, on good days, it's fine, as it always has been. On bad days, it's just as difficult as it was in those early months. And you can even feel a sense of guilt that you're not getting better, that it's your fault. I used to give myself these mini deadlines for when I would get better. At first, it was by the end of the last lockdown in the UK, then it was by summer, when I was hoping that with the good weather I would get better. And now my current one is by Christmas. But all that has been doing is giving me hope for a time when I don't need to think about this condition anymore. And then that hope is shattered when the deadline looms, unfortunately. I'm currently in a place where I'm moving towards acceptance of this condition and the fact that this is unfortunately more long-term than I would have hoped for a lot of us. And I'm trying to take momentary joys as they come. So this week I was able to go to a conference, and that would have been unimaginable for me even just 2 months ago. So I'm trying to enjoy those everyday moments that were robbed from me for the last year. Right now, I'm happy that I'm able to work and also make these YouTube videos. It's something that definitely wouldn't have been possible even 3 to 6 months ago. When I look at where I am now compared to 6 months ago even, it is completely different, and I'm holding on to that. But the ups and downs, they're still there, and I think for many of us suffering with this condition, it is the hardest part of managing these symptoms. It is this constant roller coaster of ups and downs. I also wanted to say a huge thank you for those of you who have reached out to me. It really keeps me going to see people sharing their stories about this condition, because I think this is still so under-discussed, considering there are millions of us around the world who are struggling with this, and it doesn't seem to be getting enough attention because this is a really debilitating condition. And there's still no one in my real life that I know who has long COVID. So these online relationships that I'm making are the only way for me to see that this is real and there are others. Because sometimes it can feel as if you're going completely crazy living with this, and trying to explain it to other people who don't understand is really difficult. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and thanks for reaching out, and I'll see you in my next video.